Big day here in Michigan and for the country. Recreational pot now legal in our state, making us the first in the Midwest to do so.
And if you're over 21 now, you can carry up to 2.5 ounces of it. You can also grow as many as 12 plants in your home. It is still illegal to use it in public and drive under the influence.
But as many of our viewers noticed, there are some rules in it all that are a bit hazy. 24-hour News 8's Lindsay McComb sat down with a defense attorney to answer some of those questions you have.
Well, Casey and Teresa, good morning. We're spending the day getting those answers for people, so I sat down with an attorney from Levine & Levine in Kalamazoo to go over everything.
As it's written now, what are the big takeaways or the big things that people need to know?
The most important thing for everybody to understand is that even though marijuana is going to be legal, it is not necessarily allowed. Those are two very different things. Using marijuana in public space is I think, is a general rule. Everybody should assume that is not allowed. The legislation does speak to that. It is not allowed. Operating a motor vehicle under the influence of marijuana is definitely not allowed, and that is going to be a very interesting topic over the course of the next weeks, months, years. Just because it is legal, it doesn't necessarily mean that your employer needs to allow it. They are allowed to hire, fire, not fired, to do whatever they want. You know, they're not, people who use marijuana are not a protected class. And I think that that's what people need to understand, is that employers still are going to have the right to make decisions even though marijuana is legal.
Let's talk about consume versus smoke. What are you seeing in the legislation that people need to understand?
The Act itself differentiates between those two terms. The place that I saw it the most, or that stood out to me the most, is in the rules about what a landlord is allowed to prohibit. Pursuant to a lease, they are allowed to prohibit the smoking of marijuana, but not the consumption or possession of marijuana. That's a really interesting distinction. You're not allowed to smoke pot necessarily in your apartment, but you would be allowed to eat a brownie or something edible like that. In terms of consuming it and smoking it as well, you are never allowed to smoke marijuana in a passenger compartment of a vehicle, but that doesn't address necessarily the consumption of it.